Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a very interesting story for you today. Just when you think this can't get any weirder, holy shnikes, it's really gotten weird. We've got not only Jim Harbaugh denying that his contract was rescinded, we've also got a picture of possibly Connor Stalions. Oh, I misspelled that. I think it's one L. Is he wearing a Central Michigan hat and scouting out Michigan State? Anyway, I might fix that misspelling. I might not. I don't know if it matters. Y'all know who I'm talking about. This is just getting crazier and crazier. First, let's get into the whole contract extension, rescission, one of those. And we'll talk about how Jim Harbaugh has responded. Also, we're going to talk about how he responded about his knowledge of any of this sign stealing investigation or having any knowledge of it at all. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how this kind of reminds me of Jeremy Pruitt a little bit. And then we're also going to talk about Connor Stalions, who might have been in disguise. And I don't think it was Halloween. So we're going to get into that as well. But let's start out with Jim Harbaugh and the contract deal. First thing, Jim Harbaugh says the report of the rescinded contract extension is inaccurate. This is by Dan Murphy of ESPN. He said that report was not accurate. He's in his second year of a 5-year deal. And back in October 10th, the school had hoped to have the extension with the head coach done. That process was put on hold a week later after Michigan learned the NCAA was investigating a years-long cheating scheme, according to sources familiar with the situation. So it all got put on hold. The Wall Street Journal reported that Michigan had rescinded its offer, and then Harbaugh was asked about it, and he said, "I wouldn't say that's accurate." No, Harbaugh said. A university spokesman published a statement stating the school does not comment on employment contracts until they're completed and fully executed. Harbaugh declined to answer a question about the current nature of his relationship with Manuel and other university leaders. He said, "I can talk about the football game this Saturday. I can talk about the vibes in that preparation. It doesn't seem like you're interested in that." That's what I can talk about. I'd say they're not. Now, Harbaugh denied any knowledge of the alleged cheating in a statement published shortly after the allegations were made public. He said Monday that he wasn't able to discuss the allegations further while the investigation's going on. You have to just let it play out, cooperate with the investigation, and watch how it plays out. The speculation part, as I've said, I've got too much of a one-track mind to engage on any piece of speculation. So he basically has absolutely no knowledge of it at all. He has no idea how any of this could have happened.
Oh, I see nothing. I was not here. I did not even get up this morning.
Now, Jeremy Pruitt tried that. He couldn't understand. He tried to explain that $60,000 that went to players over 2 years when he was the head coach of the University of Tennessee, that he really didn't have any knowledge of it. Well, it turned out that a member of his family his wife had passed out some of that money, and it was not in a McDonald's bag, by the way. Everybody says McDonald's bag. It was a Chick-fil-A bag. Let's get that straight. Details matter. Anyway, they had given some money. Now, here's my one defense of that, and it's the only defense, is that some of that money went to a player's mother who had some medical bills, and they also to help buy her a car, like $3,000 to help get a car. I can, it's hard for me to really rip on a guy giving up $60,000 of a $4 million a year contract, $60,000 over 2 years, as the worst thing that's ever happened in NCAA history, but he did break like 181 rules. So UT got hammered for 2 years in the press. They had a cloud over them. They lost 25 scholarships. They paid a $12 million fine. And the only reason it wasn't any worse than that is the fact that they totally cooperated. They handed over all the evidence. The chancellor did all of that. And UT actually investigated themselves and gave the NCAA everything because they didn't care at that point. They fired all the coaches. And, of course, the coaches all received anywhere from a 3 to a 5-year show cause and got a bunch of, basically they just got hammered for the deal. And the university wound up with 25 scholarship reduction and the $12 million fine. Anyway, that's how it all played out for us. The worst part of it was having a cloud over you for 2 years, and it really hurt our recruiting and not just the scholarships. But anyway, a lot of people think we got off soft. They didn't have to live through the 2 years of the speculation, and that's going to be the tough part for Michigan. Now, the easy part for us was, first of all, his last year, Jeremy was 3-7. So we didn't mind seeing him go, let me assure you. And on top of that, we wound up getting Josh Heupel, who came in first year and went 7-6, the most exciting offense I'd ever seen. Next year went 11-2, and probably would have made the college football playoff if not for this scandal, which I have speculated, and it's a rumor, that one of Connor Stalions' minions reached out possibly to South Carolina to give them our signals because they had scouted our team as well. But that has not been proven out yet, and the NCAA and FBI is up there too. It's going to come out one way or the other whether that happened or not. It may not have. But anyway, that's my theory. UT has been through this, and for all you Michigan fans out there, look, I understand you're going through a lot of grief right now. You're kind of in shock, and I'm not sitting here ripping on you at all. Look, y'all didn't have anything to do with this. You were just rooting for your team, hoping they'd win. You'd finally beaten Ohio State 2 years in a row, which is now very much suspect. But the reality is, I don't even blame you for backing him for a while, because the truth is, he's winning. And that's very important to a fan base. Now, at some point, you're going to have to come to the reality that he's probably not going to be around much longer. I don't see Michigan sticking with this guy long term, given the circumstances, because what they'll do if you do that, if you stick with the coach, they're going to hammer the school. That's how that's going to play out. If you don't basically let him go and, do the things that you've got to do, they're going to hammer you. That's just how that's going to play out. NCAA, you've got to play ball with them. But I do understand you backing him at least through the end of the year because you're thinking we might get a natty out of this. Now, whether or not the NCAA, well, it wouldn't be the NCAA. The Big Ten might jump in. So we'll see how that all plays out. But this could go a number of different ways. But it's basically a big mess. And there is a report that Michigan's trying to hurry up and do the contract extension and to show a backing of Jim Harbaugh. And I'm going to show you that. And this is actually on Twitter, which is X now. TheWolverine.com, it says Jim Harbaugh contract extension is moving forward and quickly. So supposedly they're trying to hurry up and get this contract done to show support to the coach. Now, my understanding is the contract's going to have writing in there about the NCAA investigation, which probably says something along the lines of we owe you $100 million, but if you get busted by the NCAA, we don't owe you a dime. That's probably what's in there. That's how the Vols got out of paying Jeremy Pruitt his $12 million, which is funny. That's exactly how much the NCAA fined us. But I think that had more to do with what a bowl ban would cost you. So anyway, that's what's going on there. So obviously Michigan's trying to show support for their guy, and I can kind of understand that, but eventually the chickens are going to come home to roost on this thing. Now we need to get into something that's even more crazy, and that is this. Central Michigan is investigating whether Michigan's Connor Stalions, I did misspell Stallions, it's got one L, was on the sideline for MSU game. And it talks about how suspended Michigan staffer Connor Stalions was on the Central Michigan University sideline when they played Michigan State. Obviously, he was scouting Michigan State if he was there. We have become aware of these photos late yesterday, and we are in the process of determining the facts surrounding them, CMU Athletic Director Amy Folan said in a statement. As this process is ongoing, we have no further comment at this time. And here you can see the picture of Connor Stalions, and that sure looks like him standing on the sidelines. And my understanding was every time a camera came around, he was like ducking around and being all shady. So it looks like that's possibly him. So needless to say, this is getting very interesting. First of all, I can see how he got the apparel. That wouldn't be hard to do. You can just go buy that. But how did he get a pass? And they're saying the pass, it was just like a bench pass. Well, somehow he got a pass into that game to be able to obviously scout Michigan State, if that's Connor Stalions. It sure looks like him to me. They'll figure that out as well. But this guy, man, he was a regular private eye. I mean, he was doing espionage and everything else. You put Connor on the job, buddy, he was going to find out the information. Jeez. Anyway, there is a lot going on. So we've got the Sergeant Schultz defense by Jim Harbaugh. We've got Connor Stalions possibly in additional espionage we didn't even know about, which is getting kind of crazy. And of course, the comparison to Jeremy Pruitt, I just couldn't help it because Pruitt tried to do the same thing. I had no knowledge of such a thing. What? There's gambling in Vegas? Never heard of such a thing. Anyway, I just wanted to cover this because this is really getting interesting. And there's no telling what's going to happen next. I told you folks, this was just the beginning a week ago. And every day another layer comes off. And you're like, holy crap. It's just getting thicker and thicker. So anyway, I'm going to stay on top of this. And wow, I was ready to do this thing without the Connor Stalions picture. And I saw that and that whole report. And I was like, I got to add this. So anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover always my Vols, of course. And all these goings-ons with Michigan and Ohio State, they're so angry up there. You have no idea how angry those people are. They're so mad. Lost 2 years in a row to those guys, and they feel very cheated. So anyway, again, if you have not subscribed, it's right here on your right, my left. Just hit that little button right over here. Is most recent video. YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay. Jeez.